MagMongoSlade.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. This is your host, MagMongoSlade. Today we're going to talk about Seth Rollins, and we're going to get into the Hollywood strike and why a lot of fans are very, very angry with him, despite the fact that he said something that I actually don't like, and I'm actually pretty upset with him, and I'm anti-union. All right, so what did Seth Rollins actually say? So this is from TMZ. Seth Rollins, I stand with actors, writers, but strike helping WWE get more fans. So it says WWE superstar Seth Rollins says he's in full support of the writers and actors striking in Hollywood, but tell TMZ Sports there's a silver lining in the situation because it gives people a new opportunity to check out wrestling. Of course, SAG-AFTRA decided to join the Writers Guild of America on the picket line last week, effectively shutting Hollywood down after tense negotiations with the studios. Seth makes it clear he is siding with the talented actors and writers fighting for what they want, but he welcomes any first-time fans to watch some wrestling in the meantime. Seth Rollins says, I know it's a difficult time for the actors and the writers. I believe they're doing the right thing, asking for what they deserve. I stand by them. But it is a fortunate part of not being part of a union that we're able to still perform. And for our audiences and people who may not be familiar, now they get the opportunity to tune in and see what we're all about. So he goes on to say the business is hot right now. We're in a boom, I think. When we look back on it, it's going to be a special time. I don't know about that whole boom part. I don't know about that. I don't know how you would define a wrestling boom. Usually you would define it by how much merchandise they're selling, and they're doing gangbusters in terms of merchandise right now. The attendance is all the way up, and you could take inflation into account. I think that would explain some of the bigger numbers, but let's not get into that part. Let's talk about the union part. What Seth Rollins is saying is that because WWE isn't part of traditional Hollywood, they're not shut down. Their writers are not on strike. The wrestlers are not on strike. And therefore, wrestling will be the only thing that is recurring on television, creating new episodes and is being fresh, while Hollywood has pretty much shut down movies and TV shows for the foreseeable future. Now, the last time this happened was not the strike, but COVID. Remember, last time COVID, Vince McMahon, Dana White, they fought to keep their respective businesses open, not just because TV revenue is a huge part of the bottom line. That's a cynical part. That is absolutely true. But what also is true is that it created an opportunity to have fresh content produced by companies like UFC and like WWE that kept people entertained even when there was no new TV shows and no new movies. But that's just one thing. Let's put that to the side. The business part. He's correct when it comes to the business part. If people want to watch television, there's nothing going to be on but reruns and WWE and, well, AEW. So that's pretty much it. So from a business perspective, he's absolutely correct. If you shut down Hollywood, you really leave the opportunity for people to try watching wrestling. Some people have already made that decision. Some people have grown out of it. We're not going to get into that. Now, I'm on the side of burn Hollywood, burn, and I wish he had just flat out said, thank God I'm not in a union. He said the silver lining is we're not part of a union, so we can continue doing what we do. He said, oh, we support them. Let's talk about this because I'm on team burn Hollywood, burn. Now, the reason why I'm against Hollywood in general, I'm against the writers' strikes and the actors' strikes, is for starters, I'm against unions. Unions are crushing the real little guy. You've seen these picket lines, and it's all multi-millionaire movie stars. It's a fashion show for them. They can go out there and take pictures. That's what these riots and all of these protests have become. They've lost the true spirit of what a protest is supposed to be about. Now it's just about a who's who, who's there, all that sort of thing. It's celebrity culture. That's what it is. It's not anything to do with the working man. The real working people of Hollywood don't have money, and they can't go on strike. All right, going on strike was a bad idea for the people really at the bottom, the people who cannot afford to miss days of work, who have already been out of work for weeks already. What are they going to do? Are the bills supposed to stop piling up? Is rent supposed to stop? Like, it was the exact same thing under COVID. Why is it that we are looking at these multimillionaires and saying to them, oh, you're the good guys, when all the really broke people are at the bottom starving, saying, man, I wish I could just go to work today. Guess what? I needed that last check that you guys just screwed up for me. You can't talk to those people. Those people don't exist. And that's how it is in unions all the time. The bosses make the decisions. They get all the money. The people on the bottom, the real people on the bottom that's supposed to be represented by the union, those people are screwed. They're fucked over and kicked around all the time. And it's no different here. It's no different in the UAW. It ain't no different in SAG. Now, another reason why I don't like unions, because they're a communist construct, especially in Hollywood. There's a video by Razorfist called Hollywood Was Always Red. Watch that video. There's also an article in Reason called Hollywood's Missing Movies. It's about why Hollywood never makes anti-communist movies. It actually was written in 2000. Just 23 years ago, folks. And Hollywood still does not do anti-communist movies. But when you actually go into it a little bit deeper into that article, what you will find is that the Communist Party of the United States, back in the 1930s, I think 1935, they actually funded the creation of some of the first unions in Hollywood. So the Hollywood unions are a construct of communist policy. They actually took money from Russia during the Cold War and before the Cold War. So when you look at unions in general, what is the purpose of a union? The purpose of a union is to keep out other people, keep out subversive. So if you have a bunch of communists or feminists or LGBT activists or whatever, and they control the union, they control what goes on the screen, correct? All right. So if you've hated television for the last decade, because all the TV shows are anti-male, anti-American, anti-Christian, anti-God in general, whether it's Christian or not, anti-family, it's produced race grifting, pornography, poisonous American culture. You know, it has produced absolutely nothing but negativity, and it's been degrading over time. So the subversion in American culture actually begins with what you take out of things, right? So from the article that I read, what would happen is the writers would, because they were unionized, they would decide what kind of movies get made. So movies that made communism look bad, those movies were not made. So in the past, you would get, some really good movies that were pro-United States, they were pro-culture, pro-family, pro-God, pro-everything that you and me and the average person would be for. But over time, they learned that, a wall can both keep stuff out and keep certain stuff in. So then they learned, hey, we have control over the culture. We can do more than just prevent negative stuff from coming out. We can also push stuff that we like out. So now they started pushing propaganda. From there, you started seeing slowly over time, this takes 50 or 60 years. You go from a movie that is pro-family, love and appreciation for the country that you grew up in, the God that you serve, your brothers and sisters that are right next to you. Those things, now it's about pitting everyone against each other. Every TV show nowadays, they picked white people to be the victims of this. So it comes across as sort of a victimless crime. But now everything is about race grifting, gender grifting, sexuality grifting. And the point of it is to be subversive. We want to subvert the family. We want to subvert religion. We want to subvert the country, teaching children to hate their country and all this sort of stuff. It all comes from these large blocks of people who took money from communists. And They were subversive at first. Now they're openly offensive because they don't have to be subversive anymore. The communist grip on Hollywood is so strong now that they will openly make anti-Christian movies. They will openly make anti-American movies. They will openly make anti-male movies. They will openly make racially grifting movies that feature, white people being killed and all this sort of dear white people sort of stuff. And all of that Jordan Peele who keeps making these race grifting horror movies. Like, that stuff used to be subversive in the past, but now it's right out there, right in front of your face now. For starters, the writers have gotten worse over time because now they are political commissars. They're no longer entertainers. When you were an entertainer, you couldn't be openly political because that would turn off people. Like Michael Jordan once said, Republicans buy gym shoes too. But now you realize that you have a sort of capture on the medium. So now LeBron James can go out there and talk about how everybody's a racist because the idea that Republicans buy shoes too, that's old passe. Now you have to be openly offensive. You have to openly attack people in order to be involved with this purity spiraling that they consistently do. But Hollywood is also just a den of iniquity. How many pedophile rings do we have to keep unearthing in Hollywood? How many, times do we have to keep coming out with the Weinsteins? How many friends of Oprah Winfrey are like open rapists and pederasts? Why is this continuously happening? Well, it's because Hollywood is an increasingly cocoon-like structure that is all about itself and its own propaganda. It has nothing to do with the average person. In fact, the average person, Hollywood has nothing but contempt for you. So the idea that you would be, I support the union strikes, guys. They're just fighting for what they believe in. You're an idiot. They're not construction workers. And if they were construction workers, I still don't support unions. But at least it makes sense if you're a coal miner. If you're a construction worker, a carpenter, where you might lose a finger or something. These Hollywood actors, they exist in a patronage system. Hollywood goes to the States and they get free money to have movies. And then they make millions of dollars. And then if you vote for policies that they don't like, they will openly attack where you live like they do to Georgia. Oh, we're not going to have movies in Georgia anymore because they passed a bill that we don't like. We're not going to do movies in Tennessee anymore because they passed a bill that we don't like. What is up with this? Why is anybody supporting Hollywood? Don't support Hollywood. Fuck Hollywood. They can burn forever. From the time they were doing minstrel shows to now, the first movies in Hollywood were racist. Now there's a ton of movies right now in Hollywood that are racist. It's just racist in a different direction. Fuck Hollywood. Why anybody would support them is beyond me. They're nothing but a bunch of entitled millionaires who are sitting on their asses doing photo ops and eating free pizza while the people who do the real work, I'm not saying that actors don't do work and it's not demanding. All work should have dignity. But the actors should not be the focal point here. We should be talking to the other folks who are not unionized, who are now have to try to figure out how they're going to live because Hollywood shut down again for the second time in 3 years. Hollywood has shut down again. So now what's going to happen? What's going to happen to somebody who finally was digging out of the hole after COVID to now the actors and the writers have decided, we don't like ChatGPT, so we're going to shut everything down. It's like, how about you write better than a computer can write? That ChatGPT can't write anything that's any good, at least not right now. If you were a decent writer and you were actually good at your job, you wouldn't be worried about that kind of shit. I'm worried about AI actors. Like, yeah, right. Nobody's worried about fucking AI actors. Nobody's going to go watch a Nicolas Cage movie in 2057 because you AI generated Nicolas Cage. Who gives a fuck about Nicolas Cage right now? So nobody's going to give a damn about him in 50 fucking years when he's dead. So I don't want to hear that shit. It's all just a pretense because Hollywood is bleeding money and the average person sees that Hollywood sucks and they're not buying the shit anymore. They're not going to see these garbage ass Barbie movies or any of these other trash movies that they keep making. And Hollywood, as a way of trying to save itself, is saying, fuck it, we're just going to let it burn. And I'm saying, fine, let it burn. I don't care. Good. How many times have unions drove companies, cities, countries into a fucking ditch? I live in Detroit. When this Detroit went bankrupt, one of the top reasons why was unfunded pension liabilities. Not being able to pay people who were sitting at home. Oh, they were retired, Mongo. They were just old people. I get that. But what I'm saying is it's very expensive. And in economic reality, it's very expensive to pay hundreds of people for work that they did but are not currently doing. Because now you're paying 2 to 3 people who are doing one job. You're paying the person who actually shows up every day, and then you're paying the person who was there 20 years ago. If they're still alive, if they're lucky to still be alive, that gets expensive. And guess what? Over time, that you begin to lose money. Look at why we keep having to bail out the UAW. It's not just because people aren't buying cars. That's only part of it. It's also because the union benefits are absolutely crippling these companies. That's why they keep having to bail them out. If you don't talk about economic realities, you're not talking about anything. I don't care if you actually do like a union. You can love unions all you want to, but recognize economic reality. A lot of the stuff that they're asking for, a lot of the stuff that they do is economically disastrous. It's a parasitical organism on top of an entrepreneurial structure. It does not work. It doesn't work. And people who actually benefit the organism that they're attached to will actually do very well. And wrestling is, a good sign of that. Does a top wrestler make as much as a top actor? No, but a top actor is a parasite. He doesn't actually do anything. There are very, very, very few actors who name, face only can sell a movie. Most actors are paid tons of money for movies that end up flopping and that end up going nowhere. That's why you have Netflix losing money, Peacock losing money, and all these streaming services losing money because they're paying top actors big money and those movies are not anything anybody wants to see. Sorry. All right, I'm done. Nothing gets my goat quite like union talk, especially since I've worked in union shops. I can tell you that union workers, quite a few of them, are absolutely lazy and they actually hurt more than they help. But because they're actually anti-productive. You get paid by the hour, so there's no desire to get anything done with any sort of expediency. So that's why your roads suck, because you're probably having union construction workers out there. They get paid by the hour, so they're gonna stand around texting all day instead of fixing the potholes. But we're not gonna go into that. Let's look at some of the reactions as people are very, very angry at Seth Rollins. This one is pretty interesting. Then obviously if he accepts and stands by the strike, he was so passionate about it. I mean, WWE's entertainment, it's like him crossing the picket line. If he was so for this, should he be striking as well? And since now WWE knows this might backfire and they could take the title off of him. What are you talking about? You want him to go on strike? WWE should go on strike in support of their competition, which is Hollywood, which has blocked them from any and all means of success for years. Which, here and there, you may see why it's a good question. It was asked a couple of weeks ago, thinking about Michael Cole, why WWE has never gotten an Emmy. Like, it's been on TV for 30 years. They've never gotten an Emmy for anything that they did. Regardless of how well they did in the ratings, they were always looked down on. How is it that it never happened? Well, the answer is because these insular agencies, they give each other awards. The point is not to support excellence, because that might mean supporting people you actually don't like. All of these organizations, whether it's the Emmys, the Grammys, the Oscars, whatever, the purpose of these organizations is to incentivize people who are already in the cocoon. So you'll never see people offbeat out of nowhere winning Grammys for doing nothing. They have to already be in the cocoon in one way or the other. It's the same thing with Oscars and the same thing with Emmys, etc. And I'm not saying WWE actually deserves an Emmy. What I'm saying is the reason why they'll never get an Emmy is because it's a non-union shop and it operates on the fringes of Hollywood. That's why they'll never, the same reason why they don't get Tonys, which are for like Broadway plays and stuff like that. They'll never win anything because it's operating on the fringes of everything. LOL, he's such a bootlicker. That's one thing that they always do, is they always try to call you names. Oh, you're a bootlicker. You licking boots. What the hell? Who's a bigger bootlicker? Somebody who's trying to make a way for themselves in the world, or somebody who is trying to force other people to sit at home because they want to sit at home too? Get the hell out of here. Here's an interesting one. This is a weird pro-SAG, WGA, but anti-wrestling union quote from Rollins, especially for a guy who has done some acting roles and probably has a SAG card and all those benefits. Again, actually read what he said. Read what he said. Oh, stop being stupid. Quit being stupid. And of course he has a SAG card. You think he's going to be in a goddamn Marvel movie and not have a SAG card? Why? Gee, people are stupid. You can't work in Hollywood without the union's permission. It's literally in their bylaws. You have to agree to only work in union shops and refuse any jobs that are not union. It's literally in their bylaws. Come on. You dudes are weird. Stop it. This is an interesting one. I see the wrestlers are just as stupid as the fans are when it comes to stuff outside the bubble. Yeah, everybody else is stupid. You're very smart. You know all about this whole union thing. That's why, you absolutely positively need to leech onto other people in order to keep your job. Stop it. If you were really good at your job, you would just do your job, and you'll be fine. Breaking news. WWE Rollins has been recast in Captain America Brave New World for being an anti-union scab. He's not an anti-union scab. Oh my God. I'm an anti-union scab, not Seth Rollins. Come on. Thankfully, I'm not in a union. And then there's a picture of Jesse Ventura, which of course is the one thing that wrestling fans always go to. Nobody ever asked why Jesse Ventura was the only one, and why, Greg the Hammer Valentine never wanted to have a union. Why didn't they talk to Tito Santana about the union? Why Stone Cold Steve Austin didn't have a union? Why didn't Val Venus create a union while he was there? Why didn't Rene Dupree start a union? It's always Jesse Ventura, like he's the only fucking guy who's ever wrestled in WWE. Come on, ask Mick Foley why he never wanted to start a union. For Christ's sakes. Jesus Christ. Oh boy. Seth praising a company well known for squashing attempts at employees standing up for their rights is definitely a choice. A choice indeed. Well, maybe you should ask people who don't want to do these anti-American movies when they stand up for their rights. Look at what they're doing to that movie. What's it called? A Sound of Freedom? Where these guys come out with a movie that's anti-pedophile and everybody in the movie's being attacked. Why is that? Why is it that when, certain actors come out against certain other political persuasions, it's a bad thing? When you stand up for your rights, no, the only rights that these people think that you have are the rights that they agree with. That's it. You don't have any other rights. They don't want to hear it. So somebody else posting Jesse Ventura. Oh, these wrestlers are too stupid to want a union. Yes, sure. The wrestlers are stupid for not wanting a union. Here's another one. What a dork. Somebody says, if he said, yeah, we should have a union too, he would have been fired. What do you mean? What do you want from him? This is ridiculous. All they had to do was click the article and they read it. They didn't want to read it. That's the thing. These people are not interested in reading it. I would go into the argument that they're having here in the comment section, but I'm not going to do that. Oh, here we go. Whatever happened to no comment or I support them and then that's it? No one is forcing these people, him, to say anything at all. WWE even, I'm sure, wouldn't prefer him not to speak because now they'll get bad press over not unionizing all over again. They don't care about the bad press of not unionizing. They don't care about that. I guarantee you Vince McMahon does not care about that. He doesn't care at all about that. Here's the one that's actually sensible. I don't think people who don't watch wrestling are going to see their favorite show might be on hiatus and decide to be a pro wrestling fan, Seth. No, but they might actually decide to watch it a little bit more than they were before, which is, what he's saying. He's saying that there might be some people who, and there might be some people who were wrestling fans at one point, and maybe they drifted off because something else was on TV that they enjoyed, but now that thing is gone, and now they'll drift right back to watching wrestling. We don't know. We don't know yet. But that's all he's saying, which is interesting. Wow, you're fortunate that you're not part of a union, which is why a rapist can do whatever he wants in the company. What a corporate stooge. Says the person who is standing up for the organizations that protected Weinstein and Bill Cosby and Kevin Spacey. How many others do we have to talk about here? Shit, you want to talk about? Let's not. Hollywood is the worst. And by Hollywood, I mean both the unions and the producers. All of them are the same, in the same boats. You may think that they're enemies fighting against each other. No, it's a symbiotic, parasitical relationship. That's the reason why these contracts exist. These companies are in the bed with these unions. They're just as bad. Don't give me that crap. It's the same thing with the UAW and the Big Three here in Detroit. You think this is adversarial. That's how it's pitched to you and the public. But in reality, it's you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. We'll all fuck over the little man. Fuck this. Oh, hey, look, it's well-documented company stooge Seth Rollins continuing to be a company stooge. These people have fallen for the psyop, the absolute kayfabe of thinking that these companies are and the unions are against each other when they're not. This is whatever. Anyway, he is the biggest dweeb on earth. The worst. Dweeb. Name calling. He's the biggest dweeb on earth. You're a dweeb. You're a dork. Yeah, sure. Somebody says another reason to not support wrestling and their CTE riddled fighters in quotation marks. Amazing. CTE riddled fighters. I wonder how many actors have CTE, and you'll probably never actually find out, especially the guys who do their own stunts. How many of those guys probably got CTE? Do you think you'll ever find out? Probably not. You think that CTE is only for something that wait until people realize that CTE is something you can get from a car accident or, getting hit in the head as a kid. But whatever. Let's get into this. Check the article before you criticize Rollins. Number one, I did. Number two, no one gives a fuck about the benefits of not being unionized or trying to hear about silver linings to check out wrestling regardless of a situation affecting writers, actors, and other staff. Tone deaf. Like I'm supposed to care about writers and actors. I don't give a fuck about these people. If every writer and every fucking actor on planet Earth vanished all at one time in a Thanos snap, your life wouldn't change not one motherfucking bit. You still have to get up and go to work there tomorrow. All right? You stack boxes at Amazon. You do some manual labor. You're working in like the tech business or something like that. Chances are you are not affected by this at all. And all of Hollywood's blustering does not hurt or help you. So why people are so dying the wool about this, it's 100% political and it's all garbage. Here's a good one. Love how he basically told us WWE is thriving because they don't require great writing. LMAO cinema. They don't require great writing. What's a great television show right now that's been affected by this writer's strike? Because I can't think of one. I've seen some TV shows. They were okay. I'm saying like really great shows. Like, was like The Wire cut off because of this strike or something like that? And I've never even seen all of The Wire. But is that like a show like that has been cut off? Has some big television show that was, absolute must see, did that get affected by this? I don't know. So to me, it seems like television has only been diminishing over time anyway. So what? And the streaming services are bleeding money. Again, what's the big deal here? Here's an interesting one. Fed boy company man. That's why he can never lace Kenny Omega's boots. Oh, well. Noted union starter Kenny Omega. Because that big AEW union. You mean that there is no union in AEW? Oh, okay. Okie dokie. Sure. Here's one that's actually pretty sensible, and most people should have this response. He says, my only take on this is that I'd have more respect for Seth if he just picked a side and didn't try to have it both ways by saying he supports the strikes, but is also happy WWE doesn't have to deal with strikes. That's a sensible statement because he is trying to have it both ways. He's trying to say, "Phew, I still get paid, and we get to continue, selling out arenas and moving big merchandise. So I could continue taking care of my family. Sucks to be you over there, but I stand up for you. You're doing a good job. You're doing the right thing. Just keep doing what you're doing, while we'll keep doing what we're doing, and I'll keep working, and you go eat pizza and watch all of these famous people take pictures at the picket line like they're doing something when they're literally doing nothing." The oddball thing is he does acting. His wife does acting. He can't be against the union because he's in the union probably, and his wife probably is too. Here's another one. There's nothing else going on. I mean, what else are you going to do? Watch the hit new TV show? You have to be in a union for that. So, I mean, yay unions and boo networks. But, like, do you know how many people are going to resort to watch WWE and they don't have to watch reality TV? I don't even understand that comment. Plus, reality TV actually does better when unions go on strike because it doesn't require writers. All right, here it says, wrestlers are not smart people. Well, that's not true. Some of them are not smart, but this comment was just one that was kind of weird. Here's another one. This one is actually pretty interesting and actually more to my point. There are people facing possible evictions and food scarcity in this strike. But hey, at least there's more chances for people to watch. You do feel the same tired Falcon Arrow curb stomp combo in the meantime. Fucking moron. Yeah, this is kind of my point, is that these people are putting a pillow over the face of the real little guy and telling him, I'm helping you sleep. I'm helping you. Don't you see? You're struggling. I'm helping you. And you got this pillow over your face. You can't go to work tomorrow, literally, because Hollywood is shut down. And it wasn't because of you. It wasn't your choice. It was somebody else making a decision on your behalf. I'm helping you by starving you. That's the problem with fucking communists. They're stupid. But more importantly, they're dangerous. They're dangerous and stupid. Jesus Christ. Here's another one. I hope this strike drags on for ages and we get to see WWE air unopposed by the network shows that crush it in the ratings and still not draw higher than like 2.5 million. To say that you hope this thing drags on forever means that you really just don't care about the people at the bottom of this thing. But that's the thing. They don't care about these folks. Here's the thing. No better than Hulk Hogan making sure many of your fellow wrestlers who don't make nearly as much as you do not have a union to make sure they don't get exploited by your no good, shitty ass boss. Yeah, the exploitation of a guy like Apollo Crews being able to raise a family without ever main eventing WrestleMania and, do so comfortably. I mean, we've seen mid-carders in WWE do very, very well. We've seen people in NXT drive very nice cars. Again, it's all based off of jealousy. It's the idea that because X makes more, you should be making more too. Oh, the football players make so much, you should be making that much too. Wrong. This one is even more ridiculous. I don't care if screenwriters go homeless. As long as the WWE is okay, I'm good. Man! Well, look, I'm sorry. It's impossible for you to care about everybody equally. So, if you don't care about screenwriters because, your job is safe, guess what? That's perfectly fine. That's not an unethical position to have. It's not unethical to say, I care about me and my family and leave you into your family to figure it out. Because if I was homeless and on the verge of going homeless, the screenwriters wouldn't jump out the window to save the wrestler. So why should he care? But, whatever. Here's one. Perhaps WWE will scale the same lofty heights of creativity they attained during the 1994 MLB strike when they ran ads. This was great. This was fantastic, by the way. I'm going to start over. He says, perhaps WWE will scale the same lofty heights of creativity they attained during the 1994 MLB strike when they ran ads bragging that they never have a strike, hard to strike with no union, and introduce a wrestler whose gimmick was that his face was a baseball. Knuckleball Schwartz. One of the many gimmicks of the Brooklyn Brawler, aka Steve Lombardi. But that was fantastic. They had Macho Man Randy Savage do baseball commercials with him basically telling kids they'll never go on strike, which is amazing. But nobody ever asked the question how that 1994 strike absolutely destroyed popularity in MLB, which it did. And nobody ever talks about that outside of sports culture. Here's one that's pretty ridiculous. This is a fact, no question about it, and will continue to do so. You cannot have AI perform WWE. It can write it, but not really. There's too much nuance, and humans are needed. Hollywood can be complete eradicated for all I care. Perhaps they should reboot American, I guess, Gladiators was the next segment. Which, keeps popping up every time there's a writer's strike. American Gladiators appears. But this was interesting. Sometimes the best thing to do is to keep your fucking mouth shut. Shut up. These people are literally standing up for mafia tactics. I should have said that earlier, but I don't like using the mafia. Communists are much better because they've killed more people. But unions are literally mafia tactics. It's a protection racket. You pay into it and they quote unquote protect you. But you don't have a choice to not pay into it. It's literally mafia tactics. It's like being forced into a gang. And I know some of y'all are black and Hispanic. You probably know some people who are forced into gangs. You from a certain neighborhood. If you're going to get beat up by somebody else from another neighborhood, you need protection. Hey, join up with us. You don't really have a choice in the matter, because if you don't, we will beat you up. So it's literally mafia tactics that they support. This is some high tier bootlicking. It's some high tier bootlick. It's bootlicking, to be able to walk away from a job that you don't really want if they're not paying you and they're mistreating you. Yeah, bootlicking to walk away from that. Ridiculous. Just absolute ridiculousness. So here's one. The irony of saying this when they get record low viewership during the pandemic when TV shows went on hiatus. Well, that's not entirely true. It just didn't go up. All right. For starters, they were also in empty buildings doing half-taped shows, which people saw the spoilers of before they even watched it. I had just about enough of this bootlicking cunt, to be honest. Corporate bootlicker. I know his knees hurt. I like Seth, but bro, this motherfucker is a bootlicker. He's a bootlicker. Amazing. He's a bootlicker because he's, doing his job and broke through the glass ceiling and makes tons of money and takes care of his family and says, hey, as long as what you're doing don't fuck with my thing, my ability to take care of my family, well, he's a bootlicker. Ain't that crazy? Here's another one. Even if Seth was to advocate for a minuscule of labor protection, he's so over that it wouldn't hurt him in the slightest. But dude wants to be a company man. Labor protections. What labor protections exactly? You don't want to know what the best protection? Being good at your fucking job. Do your job, be good at it, and guess what? You don't get fired. It's crazy how that works, that people who are actually good at their job and useful never seem to get fired. But it's only people that the company, they don't see any use for them. They're lazy, not really all that good at their job. Crazy how those people always manage to get fired. Weird. This is a good one. This guy never saw an opportunity to crawl into Vince's butthole that he didn't leap at voraciously. Voraciously. Famous bootlicker cannot get that motherfucking boot away from him. Somebody called him the Meek Mill of WWE. What does that mean? How is he the Meek Mill of WWE? Oh, I don't know. This is silly. These people are silly. All right, man. I'm done with here. Thank you, guys. Wait a minute. We're not done. We got one more. The worms in this colossal knob jockey's brain have their own brain worms. Knob jockey. That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. A knob jockey. Um, oh goodness. If terrible shows aren't made, people will watch our terrible show. Fucking foolproof. I can't believe somebody who actually knows that Hollywood is terrible is actually against this. That's so bizarre. How bizarre. But then again, these people are mentally, they're deranged, man. Okay, let's try to find one to end on. One more. So, he's a bootlicking scab on top of being a mega Janetti. He's a Janetti? He's at the top of the industry and he's a Janetti? That's weird. That's weird. I thought Marty Jannetty was a cracked out hobo who has threesomes with drunken hookers in his trailer. But apparently being a Janetti is actually being a multimillionaire with a beautiful family. Very weird. When it comes to unions, all the top stars turn into Terry Bollea, brother. Well, the guys at the bottom can start a union if they want to. They don't seem to want to. You know, that's just the crazy thing. A union doesn't have to start at the top. The idea that your cause has to start at the top is the reason why the left is so shitty today. Because they look to the top for everything. Real leftism comes from the bottom. It is the sympathy of the little man, not from the people at the top, not the elitists, not the Hollywood celebrities, not your fucking politicians. It comes from the average Joe, people like me and you, not fucking Hollywood actors. Not the people who stomp on, they stump for political committees. These people literally do commercials for like Hillary Clinton, and all of a sudden they're the voice of the working class. They live in multi-million-dollar houses. How are they the voice of the working class? How? How is your fucking politician the voice of the working class? Come on. Be smart about this. It's dumb. You're dumb and dangerous because you're a dumbass communist. Somebody says he's not wrong, but at the same time, Seth is trying to dethrone Cena as the man most likely to lick Vince's boots clean on request. Last writer's strike is how we ended up with the reality TV dystopia. Well, if people like reality TV, then it wasn't a dystopia. Because guess what? There were people working on those reality TV shows. And guess what? Those people were able to make money and feed their families. So wasn't it a dystopia for them? No. Just because you don't like reality TV, then don't watch it. Don't watch it. Because I don't watch it. I don't watch that shit. Anyway. WWE literally calls themselves scripted TV. So WWE doesn't have pro wrestlers. They have performers. What are those performers called? The ones that are on the scripted TV programming? Oh yeah, fucking actors. WWE talent like Seth should be in SAG. But they stay blind. Yeah, they don't know that SAG exists. Despite the fact that so many of them actually join when they do movies. Idiot. Dorks. I'm going to start calling them dorks now. It's hilarious. Somebody called him the bootlicking god. Jeez, these people are out of their minds, bro. Yeah, Seth, we get it. You're getting another paycheck. We get it. Loud and clear every time you brag about it. It was funny before, but now it's getting a little annoying and a bit pessimistic. What does that mean? Oh, somebody had a picture of Seth Rollins in the Kiss My Ass Club. This was definitely going into this thread. We're definitely going to save this one and use it. We definitely using this one. And this one is pretty silly. It says, this nigga do toe touches on the dick. I don't even know what that means. I guess he's saying he's dick riding. Oh, these people are... These people are so weird. These people are so weird, man. They're just obsessed with boots and dicks and all sorts of stuff. They're... But it's crazy how people didn't bother to read it, or some people did read it and still managed to... Like, getting offended is a choice. I've said that before. Since getting offended is a choice, you can just, get offended and not really care whether you read it or not, which some people did. They got offended after they read it. But let's wrap this thing up. Thank you guys for your time. I'll talk to you guys later. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Peace out. Chief.